tell us what type of conditions we're dealing with.
So these winds are coming from the west when this fire was roaring up this hill. And at that time, right around 9 o'clock tonight, we were seeing sustained winds, 40 plus miles per hour, and some of those gusts 55 plus miles per hour. Now, west northwest, so they're pushing still to the east at this time, Scott.
Yes, and there are some homes that are near us in this residential neighborhood, and I spoke to the next door neighbor here, and he is concerned, but currently his home is okay. We do have an assessment of everything that has been going on now. We're getting our first official word right now from Mike Eliason with Santa Barbara County Fire. He is standing by on the other side of our building right now with Blake Devine. Before we go to him, the next time you see me, I'm going inside right now. We've just been told by Mike Young, a fire captain for us, everything is looking really good for you guys right now, he says, because the fuel has been burned out and things have died down where we are. But for an overall assessment, let's go down to Blake and Mike Eliason.
All right, guys, so we are out here on the back patio of the KEYT lot over here, looking over at the Loma Fire, and I'm joined by Mike Eliason of the Santa Barbara County Fire Department. And Mike, what can you tell me about this fire? And it broke out around 8:50 this evening, and the wind really just picked it up, and we've seen a lot of people having to get evacuated out of this area at this moment.
Exactly, and as Kelsey's probably been talking about, the winds were really a factor early on. There's two things that really drove this fire. One, it burned on a steep slope that pushed the fire up faster. Fire burns a lot faster uphill, and it was being pushed laterally by those gusty winds. It was being pushed kind of to the south along this hill. It was very visible throughout the south coast. We have approximately, we had about 50 homes and structures, commercial structures, as well as residential homes that were threatened. We have 17 engine companies on scene, as well as some hand crews. We have a box for evacuations that are to the east would be Loma Alta Drive, to the west would be Miramonte, to the north would be Vista del Pueblo, and to the south would be Cliff Drive area. And there were a lot of looky-loos in the area, and we want to make sure people stay away. We still have equipment coming in, and it's dark, and you can't see people as they're coming around those corners, and we want people to be safe, and we don't want them to be injured. So please stay out of the area if you don't have any business being here.
A lot of people that live around this area could see the flames from throughout Santa Barbara this evening as the night sky just hit us. But as we were just talking about, a lot of people are trying to come up the hill, frantically move things out. But which parts of this area are currently closed to traffic? I saw Miramonte was closed. Back here on the back end up by McKinley, if I'm not mistaken, was closed. Which roads are closed, and what should people be advised to do if they live in this area?
Well, there are other areas to get to the Mesa. You can come along Cabrillo Boulevard, you can come up along Las Positas, but we want you to stay off of that Carrillo Hill and as well as the Cliff Drive corridors, because those are the areas inside that box that we're working right now. The police and the Highway Patrol and the sheriffs are doing a great job trying to keep people out, but those who are inside the box are roaming the streets, and we really don't want you out there because of the fact that you could get injured when we're coming around a corner and we can't see you. As the fire was moving quickly up that hill, there were some flames and some embers that got a hold inside of at least one of the houses and did do some damage inside one of the structures. County and city firefighters did a great job of stopping it. They did some damage. There was some damage to the house, but as far as I know, that's the only structure that's been damaged so far.
All right, Scott, as we just heard, one structure has been damaged thus far, but there's a lot of firefighters on scene right now. And Mike, I guess lastly for me, where did this fire start? And just once again, how did it happen so quickly? Just in a matter of 30 minutes, it was up this hill.
Well, again, two factors. One, the topography. It was a steep hill, and that fire burns a lot faster uphill. So it was moving uphill at a rapid rate, and then it was being pushed by those strong winds. So it was moving in a north and south direction, kind of at the same time. There was almost a multi-directional spread as it was moving up the hill and also being pushed laterally down towards the ocean.
Mike, thank you so much for your time. And guys, as we just heard from Mike, one structure has been damaged. At this point, everything else is safe, but there's still a lot of flames to be put out. But as you can see right now in the background, this whole area, just in our 10 p.m. newscast, was covered in embers and flames, and now it's definitely dissipated. So the wind has died down, but we're going to keep you updated here from throughout the evening. Reporting live on TV Hill this evening, Blake Devine, News Channel reporter. Scott, back to you.
Hey, Blake, thank you very much. Again, this is our first time here back in the building. They have just given us the all clear to come back in. Scary moments for us here around the television station with this fire breaking out tonight, burning up the hill towards our station and towards homes just down the way. We hear from Mike Eliason. One home has taken some damage. We certainly hope for the best for that homeowner. Our neighbor up here on TV Hill, 50 homes are threatened. 17 engine crews are out there. This is video that I took earlier today in our satellite dish area. These firefighters are going to knock out that wall that you see there to the right and get down closer to those flames. And those embers are everywhere, as you can see, all over the place. And our building is just feet away from those satellite dishes. The fire crews arrived, but it was very perilous, very scary times. Just on the other side of those bushes there is a home. I spoke with the homeowner. His name is Steve. And he was very concerned, obviously. He saw the flames before any fire crews came up. He came over into our parking lot. And it looks like his place is okay. What we want to do right now is we want to hear from a gentleman named Jose, who is the property manager for the dryer building next door to us. And he explains how he was able to get a hose out and put it on this fire, as we see some video taken from down below the hill. And this is what many people around Santa Barbara were looking at today. But let's hear from our neighboring property manager, who did such a great job getting the first water on this fire from above. Sir, thank you for what you're doing here.
You're welcome.
What's your name?
My name is Jose.
Jose, are you with the property next door?
Yes, I am. I am the property manager next door, yes, at the drive building.
You've been out here for a while. Tell me what you've seen and what you've been able to do here.
Well, I was driving back to Miramonte Drive and we saw the fire, so immediately I went to the building and grabbed the fire hose, and here we are, trying to contain the fire on this side, at least flank it from this side.
These flames have gotten very close, haven't they?
They have, yes.
This has been scary, and we're fortunate that you have this professional grade fire hose here that you got out pretty quickly when these flames got up.
Yes, yeah, we got it pretty quick. So we're ready to go. You know, we have the hoses ready to be deployed.
Yeah.
And thankfully we have 3 fire hydrants next door, so we can try to help as much as we can.
3 fire hydrants over here at what's known as the dryer building, correct?
Correct.
All right. Our longtime neighbors here on TV Hill. Here's our station. That's the dryer building there. Jose has been posted up here for, I don't know, 30 minutes or so at least, wouldn't you say, Jose?
That's about, yeah.
Yeah.
45 maybe.
And the flames are going out that way toward the ocean. Where did you see these flames initially coming from?
They came from Loma Fire. So I was driving on Carrillo towards there.
Around what time was that?
About 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, so that'd be right around 9 o'clock, right?
Correct, yeah.
And they really came up here pretty quickly, didn't they?
No, the wind, yeah.
And now we see those firefighters are down there out of our sight, but they've got some hose pulled out there. And you're almost able to reach those flames from here, aren't you?
Yep.
Okay.
Almost there. So what they're doing some fire breaks over there. They're also flanking the fire from that side.
Yeah. Okay. Jose, what's your last name?
Arevalo. A-R-E-D as Victor, A-L-O.
All right. Again, thank you so much, Jose.
You're very welcome. Take care.
All right. All right, that was Jose Arevalo at about 9:30 tonight, about 30 minutes after the fire started. He was on it quickly. Apologies if we could not make out everything he was saying because of the audio quality due to the wind, which was the big issue that we were dealing with here with this fire spreading. Kelsey Gerkins is outside on our back patio, and she has more. She's been telling us about this wind advisory, the wind warnings that have been going on as we see some of these flames going up in trees from earlier. But let's find out the latest on the conditions right now from Kelsey outside.
Hey, and Jose is still actively working. Jose, before you go too far, he has been busy all night long, and he is currently trying to wet down all of this brush. And Jose, we were just hearing from you a moment ago on TV, but tell me why you're still out here even at this hour.
I'm just helping out the fire department by flanking the fire from this side. So right now they're in the mop-up part of it. So there was a couple of big flames that were starting to catch up on fire right here. So there's a big brush right here. So if it catches on fire, it can start again. Thankfully, the wind died down, so that helps a lot.
And Jose, what is the wind out here now compared to what you were seeing when that flame was really just roaring up the hillside?
It's a big difference. It's like day and night.
Yeah.
It's like day and night. Yeah, absolutely. It was pretty strong. But yeah, I'm glad it died down, and so far so good.
Thank you, Jose. We really appreciate it. He's been out here all night long. He took a little tiny break, and he has been wetting all of this down again. And as he was mentioning, but I'll kind of give you an update on what's going on when it comes to the weather. So at this moment, we're seeing pretty light winds out here. We're barely getting into the double digits when it comes to those sustained winds off and on throughout the last couple of minutes. But throughout the entire 9 o'clock hour, we were seeing those sustained winds from 30 to 45 miles per hour. And that is what took these flames at the bottom of this hill near Loma Alta. Not sure exactly where that ignition site was, but it took just minutes when we had those sustained winds at 45 miles per hour to roar up this hillside. And I was tracking gusts around 9:15 tonight at 56 miles per hour. And I've been checking on the winds, and right now we're seeing single digits in some areas of Santa Barbara into the low double digits. So a big change, but Scott, still on high alert. I'm going to go to the weather computer, get some graphics made, because we are seeing those winds come and go. You can see my hair starting to blow. We're under a wind advisory right now for the Santa Barbara South Coast, Santa Barbara County Mountains, all the way until 6 a.m. on Friday. So we are expecting to see these winds continue to pick up all throughout the overnight hours. When it comes to this active firefight now, as you let us know, we got that all clear from the captain, because we're not seeing really any active embers on this hillside. As Herb, our chief photog, takes a look, I'm not seeing any sort of red glow on the hillside here at TV Hill. As I really start looking towards the east, I'm not seeing those active embers from our vantage point at this time. Firefighters, as well as Jose, who's been out here all night, have done an incredible job of fighting this fire, because at times we were seeing those flames get at least 10 feet high, roaring up this hillside. So it's really nice that all of those embers, thanks to Jose's help, have been put out here at TV Hill. And firefighters are in just about every driveway as you make your way down Miramonte, as they are protecting all of those homes, making sure that the fire does not come too close to them. And they have been doing a really good job of trying to stop this fire from impacting all the residents that live on this hillside here, Scott.
Yes, thank you, Kelsey. That is encouraging. The fire crews have gotten out there to protect the homes down Miramonte. We've also seen fire trucks that are down the hill in the neighborhood below our television station, as we see a vantage point here from another live shot with smoke in the foreground. And I'm not exactly sure where this shot is set up. I believe this is down below our television station, where we see more fire crews. The fire was burning up the hill, but with this wind whipping, it was also able to move down the hill in other directions as well. And, you know, we are breathing a little bit easier here from our television station, but we know that this fire is still moving. It is 0% contained. The area around where we are right now was hot between 9 and 10, but as the flames moved, pushed by the wind toward the ocean, we know that there's a possibility that there are other structures that are threatened right now, which is why you continue to hear the sirens. You continue to see more and more fire crews getting on this fire. We heard from Mike Eliason a few moments ago, 17 engine crews as of the top of the hour. And with Kelsey telling us this wind warning, this wind advisory, these high winds are going to be with us potentially until 6 in the morning. This firefight is not going to stop, with so many embers out there and a big gust of wind able to move these things quite a distance. So a lot of vegetation has been chewed up around our area. That's why they say we are safe here at TV Hill right now. That's why they let us back into our building 15 minutes ago. But we are certainly still on watch for where this fire is going towards the ocean, and more homes. There are 50 homes that are threatened according to Mike Eliason, the Santa Barbara County Fire Public Information Officer, and that was just 15 minutes ago. So people have been evacuated. We are fortunate. We are here. We are safe. We are doing our best to give you the best information that we can as we are trying ourselves to settle down from what was a frightening experience with this fire coming so close to where we were as we've tried to get this video out and keep you informed on what's going on. Blake Devine is with us again right outside of our station. We'll go back out live to him. Blake.
We're coming, Chris. We might go. Scott, we're here right now in the backyard of a resident's house that this house, obviously, the firefighters they took a really good stand because although the backyard, you might not be able to see because it is a bit dark, is a bit dirty and blown away, but these firefighters just held this ground over here. And as you can see, just all of the embers, this entire area earlier today was just covered in brush, in plants, and now it is absolutely smothered in black debris. And as we now see, there are some firefighters over on the lot. We're going to take a little walk over here, Chris, and we'll take a look at this house that was completely abandoned. The residents seem to have evacuated safely, but look at their front yard. I mean, it is entirely covered right now in dirt, and these firefighters are kind of putting out those last embers, but they've held the actual house intact, which is a very, very positive sign. And as we're gonna watch your feet, Chris, as we're gonna step along the way, you just have to look. Earlier, within the last 40 minutes, this entire area was just completely under duress. This is actually a nearby neighbor to our KYT News Channel 3 TV station, and these firefighters here have kind of done their job and they're taking a look, but a lot of this area within the last 40 minutes was just covered in flames. Now it is completely dissipated, but there's still a large police presence on scene. A lot of neighbors within this area have been evacuated. And let's go back out on the patio, if you don't mind, just to kind of show, for one last look for the viewers, just to look at what is going on back here and just all the street closures. You see right down below on the street, we can hear those saws going off, and that is a team that is cutting down debris and allowing the firefighters to get into those tough to reach spots, because a lot of embers on this hill and it's very steep and it's very dark, so it's going to be an all-night affair in order to put this out. And as you can see, the street below, heavy police presence closing it off so residents don't get in the way. And as we can kind of look out at this incredible view in Santa Barbara and just look at all the different blue lights for police sirens due to this fire that is going on, the Loma Fire. And again, only one structure has been damaged thus far, as a lot of firefighters are here on scene putting out the flames. But we're going to keep you guys updated throughout the evening, and we're going to move to another spot and see how this fire has dissipated within the last hour or so. But sending it back to you, Scott.
Blake, let me ask you, Blake, are you at the home right next door to our television station?
That is correct. I'm at the house immediately to the left of the KYT station. As you can see, those firefighters putting out the flames, that is kind of to the corner of the right side of the KYT parking lot.
Okay, Blake, thank you. The reason I asked that is because a gentleman I spoke with about an hour ago will be happy to see your perspective that we're seeing right now. His name is Steve. He fled the flames, which he saw through those windows you were just showing us coming up the hill towards his home, and I interviewed him in our parking lot just about 10 o'clock tonight. Let's hear from him.
And I was watching the television, and all of a sudden ashes are flying up in the air.
Yeah.
It was sweeping up TV hillside, kind of away from the TV station, right at where I was sitting. And then I think the wind really, really bad, really, really heavy. And it kind of swept it up to the edge of the house, which I've always tried to make a fire break there because it's a hillside that could burn. And it kind of swept towards the back of my house and the neighbor's house, and they're still working on it, so I don't know what the result is.
Crews are there right now. It's about 9:55, and they're protecting your home right now as we speak.
You were there, you saw these flames coming. Did you get out on your own, or did the fire crews tell you to get out?
I got out on my own. I started to go to the back of the house to try and extinguish the embers, and then it was like, okay, you have to get out of here. It was kind of like, firestormish.
Yeah.
There's nothing to fight because the air was all on fire.
Yeah, we can see the trees really blowing. That was scary, wasn't it?
That was scary enough that I forgot to grab everything that you're supposed to grab.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is our next door neighbor there, Steve, who again will be happy to see Blake's reporting from just a moment ago that his home is okay. Again, one home has been damaged, according to Mike Eliason. 50 homes threatened from this fire called the Loma Fire, burning below our television station, now moving towards the ocean. And there are 17 engine crews out here. We are just getting word that the Red Cross is setting up a station at the Ledbetter Beach parking lot for those who are having to flee from these flames, as we see from earlier, intense fire here. And that was when the wind was really blowing between 9 and 10 o'clock. And what we want to do now is we want to get the latest on what we're dealing with weather-wise. Let's go back to Kelsey, who has come inside the station now. She is in the First Alert Weather Center. Kelsey.
Scott, we were tracking those winds anywhere from 40 plus miles per hour, sustained winds coming on through. I do want to give you a look at our live radar so we can see what we're seeing when it comes to these winds right now. And currently in Santa Barbara, we are seeing those sustained winds around 16 miles per hour. Right around Point Conception, we're seeing those winds at 24 miles per hour. So Santa Barbara South Coast area, where this fire is currently getting a little bit of relief from those gusty winds that are coming through. These are still wind advisory level winds, but it is not those extreme winds that we were seeing when this fire really just roared right up TV Hill. As I take a look there, you can see TV Hill at 17 miles per hour sustained winds coming on through. So definitely blowing some of those flames across the area. That's why we do have that wind advisory for the Santa Barbara South Coast, Santa Barbara County Mountains continuing until we get to 6 a.m. I want to give you a close look at the future wind cast so you can see what we're going to be dealing with overnight. Now, these sustained winds are really going to continue all throughout the overnight hours, unfortunately. Now, if you lived in the Santa Barbara area for a while, you know our strongest winds come through as the sun is setting, which, as we're getting to the very longest days of the year, is taking place close to 8 o'clock at night. So that is really when these sundowner winds came in, and that's when this flame really made its way up the hillside. And as we take a look to 11:30 tonight, we're still in the double digits, 15 miles per hour there in Goleta, Santa Barbara, but a big change from the 40 miles per hour we were seeing at 8, 9 o'clock tonight. As we go towards 1 o'clock in the morning, staying right there in those double digits, and we're going to be staying right around 15 miles per hour there in the Santa Barbara area as we go throughout the overnight hours. So right at TV Hill, where these winds are coming through, I'm looking at them staying around 15 miles per hour until those early morning hours. This is showing around 3 a.m., picks up to around 20 miles per hour, and these winds are coming from the west and pushing to the east. So that is why this fire has been pushing to the east, and it will continue that way all throughout the overnight hours. A little bit more from the west-southwest at times, which is what we've also been seeing. But even as we get to 6:30 a.m., we're still in the double digits. Heading into your Friday forecast, we're actually going to see those winds pick up again, just like they did today. As we head into your Friday afternoon and Friday evening hours, you can see by 2:30 p.m. Santa Barbara, Goleta, once again dealing with those gusty winds. I do expect the strongest winds to take place with that sundowner wind event just after the sunset, Scott.
Okay, Kelsey, thank you very much. Sports Director Mike Klan is with us now. Mike, you were in the building here. A few of us had gone to get some dinner. You had just returned from covering sports, as you do every night, going around. And I called you at 9 o'clock, and you were in the process of moving vehicles out of our parking lot. What was it like from your vantage point?
Well, it was wild. You know, I was here editing my sportscast, and Blake Devine just runs, and he's like, TV Hill's on fire.
Yeah.
So, and my office is pretty close to the patio, so we ran out, and I was expecting to see the flames far down the hill, like, you know, we've seen in the past. But they were right there. The embers were going. And I knew it was serious because the wind was howling. I knew that going, you know, I was at Dos Pueblos today and it was windy out there. So I knew the winds are, this was not a fire to be messed with. So I went around and told our director, Ed, to you know, there's a huge fire that everyone got alerted and got out of the building. And then we just started moving, some vehicles and getting some gear out. And the fire guys were here quick. And really, I think we dodged a bullet because of the wind was going the other way. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting in this studio right now.
Isn't that the truth? That the wind was blowing, as Kelsey says, to the east. If it had shifted just a little bit and pushed it up the hill instead of kind of down the hill sideways, we could have been in some trouble.
Yeah, and I mean, we're talking, I think yards from the wind. I mean, we saw the flames right by the satellite, outside, and the vehicles. And our chief photographer, Herb, said, that live van could have exploded.
Yes.
So we got lucky here, and I know there's some damage to a house or two, and it's very unfortunate, but it could have been a lot worse.
Yes, we have a report of one home being damaged, and this is the first time that two of us have sat together this close on this news desk in a while, so I just want to let you know that Mike and I have both been vaccinated and more than 3 weeks ago. So we are both in compliance here. Didn't even think of that until just now, because this has been a wild evening for all of us. You've lived here for many years. You live in Montecito. You've dealt with fires near your home. Now it's here near our work.
Yeah, and I've covered the T fire, Hesita fire. So this was pretty close. I mean, those embers. I mean, when you got here, there's 10 or 15, 20 minutes of. It was kind of frantic.
Yes, it was intense, and I took my phone out and was taking some videos. You were moving the cars. We could see the flames, many people down below taking a look, and we know that the fire crews are now certainly doing their best to be on top of it, but before they get the hose out there, those are the moments when you don't know what is going to happen, right? Because this is tough terrain for them to access this fire. Do you get it from below or above? You have to come through a neighborhood, windy roads. You have to get through a property, pull the hose, in our case, through an area of satellite dishes, knock down a wall. And once they did that, fortunately around the same time, the wind seemed to die down a little bit. And as you say, Mike, I think that we're really dodging a bullet here as we see Mike Eliason right there in our live shot. Santa Barbara County Public Information Officer. Are we ready to go back to him, Ed? Is Blake ready to talk to Mike again? Do we have an update? Don't know where all of our crews are, but it looks like he may be ready to answer some questions. If we're able to get official word here from Santa Barbara County, that would be great. As things are evolving rapidly, as they always do during a fire, it looks like we're getting the thumbs up here that we're going to be able to speak with Mike Eliason, who in addition to providing such great information is also an excellent photographer and videographer who provides very compelling images of many of these fires, and we of course have seen far too many, especially in recent years. And for those of you who may not be in the city of Santa Barbara, you see the hill that we sit on. This is not considered a backcountry area. It is on top of a hill with brush down below, but as you can see from the video, there are homes, and it's just a residential neighborhood. And it looks like Mike is getting ready to give an address here, so let's see if we can turn up his audio and listen in.
The evacuation orders are still in place, and that box, I'm going to kind of paint it for you. It is using the State Street north-south as the example. Loma Alta Drive to the east, Miramonte Drive to the west, Cliff Drive, McKinley School area to the south, and Vista del Pueblo to the north is the evacuation area. At the height of the fire, we had about 50 structures threatened. Both those are commercial buildings as well as residential. One home was damaged. Some of the embers got inside the home, and there was some damage inside near the kitchen area to at least one home. I don't know if there were any others, but that's the one that I know of so far. We have resources from throughout Santa Barbara County as well as Ventura County that are here. The fire started about 10 to 9, and it was driven by two factors. One, the topography. It was burning uphill, but fire burns a lot faster uphill, and it was being pushed laterally by those very strong gusty south winds to the south, so it was pushing that fire also to this. It was burning uphill and also laterally.
Containment?
We're still at 0% containment right now. but that's going to change too. I'm going to go down to the IC and talk.
I'm going to do a quick shot here.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and get that actually on camera for me. I think you're live.
Okay, there we have the latest information from Mike Eliason. It looks like we're going to get more from him. Let's go back.
Has resources available right now at the Ledbetter Beach parking lot area. So those have been affected, those that have been evacuated, that's a safe place you can go right down there at Ledbetter Beach. Again, right now, the fire, as you can see, has died down dramatically from what it did early on. The winds are a lot calmer than they were, but the fire is still problematic. It's steep terrain. It's very dangerous for these firefighters as debris can roll down in the dark and they don't know it's coming until it's on top of them. So it's a very precarious position that these firefighters are in right now. So they're working very hard, trying to do their best to make sure we get a line around this fire. You can still see some active flames behind me, but right now the fire conditions have calmed down dramatically from what it was a couple hours ago.
And so how do we expect the night to go?
We're going to be out here all night and through the day tomorrow, getting that line around, making sure all the hot embers are out. The winds are the problem because winds can carry embers great distances. Those embers can get a hold somewhere else and start a new fire, a spot fire. So we really don't want that to happen. So we have resources scattered throughout outside the perimeter that are monitoring, doing structure protection, keeping eyes out, looking for any embers that might be carried outside the containment lines.
Okay, that's great. Thanks a lot, Mike.
Sure, thank you.
All right, that sounded like our videographer Alex Zauner talking with Mike Eliason, and you could also hear in the background some chainsaws as those fire crews are up there doing the hard work of clearing some of that brush to starve this fire of fuel. But there is plenty of it, as we see this picture from down below. This is earlier tonight. And this is video from just outside of one of our television studios in our building here. I took this video about 9:15 tonight, right there near our satellite dishes, as the flames were just that close to our building. And we hear again from Mike Eliason. He hears of at least one home damaged. Some embers got into a kitchen area, he says. We are going to be with you for another 2 minutes here on News Channel 12. We'll stay with you until midnight on News Channel 3. In our remaining moments here on both stations, let's go to Kelsey Gherkins, our chief meteorologist, once again outside with an update for us on the conditions. Kelsey.
Scott, outside right now, we are seeing those winds pick up and then they start to calm down. So you can probably notice from my hair blowing a little bit out here, we are in the double-digit wind speeds, anywhere from around 15 to 20 miles per hour here where the fire is burning. There's not a really good sensor on TV Hill, but comparing it to some of the foothills in Montecito, we're right around 18 miles per hour, similar wind gusts coming on through. We do have a firefighter down here that was assessing the area, making sure that the embers in this area are out. From our vantage point, we are not seeing any active flames because these winds are coming from the west and pushing to the east. Scott, we are under that wind advisory because we are going to see those sustained winds from 15 to 30 miles per hour all the way until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Sending back over to you.
Okay, Kelsey, thank you. So we are going to continue to see these fire crews on the scene, as we heard from their public information officer, through the night and into the morning, as some areas are under less threat right now than others, but those embers are out there, and with this wind continuing, they're going to do everything they can to get as much of this fire out as they possibly can. As we can continue to look at some footage here from earlier tonight in this area near our satellite dishes, as these are some of the first firefighters to arrive on the scene at about 9:15, somewhere in there. This fire broke out shortly before 9, and you see just a few feet away from our satellite dishes, these crews on the scene. We are in a residential neighborhood here, our television station on Miramonte Drive on what's called TV Hill in Santa Barbara. And we have been given the all clear to go back in the station here, but there are still homes that are in the path here. So we're going to say goodnight to our friends here on News Channel 12. We'll see you tomorrow, and those of you on News Channel 3, stay with us. Still live here on News Channel 3, Scott Hennessy, Kelsey Gherkins, Blake Devine in the field with you here today and the rest of our television crew from KEYT News Channel 3. You will see more of these videos on our website, on my Twitter, which is Hennessy TV. Been posting some of these videos tonight. And we want to hear from the first man to put water on this fire. His name is Jose. He is the property manager in the building next door to us. And I went out and spoke with him as he was putting some water on this fire very early on, just after 9 o'clock. Sir, thank you for what you're doing here.
You're welcome.
What's your name?
My name is Jose.
Jose, are you with the property next door?
Yes, I am. I am the property manager next door, yes, at the drive building.
You've been out here for a while. Tell me what you've seen and what you've been able to do here.
Well, I was driving back to Miramonte Drive and we saw the fire, so immediately I went to the building and grabbed the fire hose, and here we are, trying to contain the fire on this side, at least flank it from this side.
These flames have gotten very close, haven't they?
They have, yes.
This has been scary, and we're fortunate that you have this professional grade fire hose here that you got out pretty quickly when these flames got up.
Yes, yeah, we got it pretty quick. So we're ready to go. We have the hoses ready to be deployed.
Yeah.
And thankfully we have 3 fire hydrants next door, so we can try to help as much as we can.
3 fire hydrants over here at what's known as the dryer building, correct?
Correct.
All right, our longtime neighbors here on TV Hill. Here's our station. That's the dryer building there. Jose has been posted up here for, I don't know, 30 minutes or so at least, would you say, Jose?
That's about, yeah.
Yeah.
45 maybe.
And the flames are going out that way toward the ocean. Where did you see these flames initially coming from?
Well, they came from Loma outside. Loma outside.
Uh-huh.
So I was driving on Carrillo towards Miramonte.
Around what time was that?
About 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, so that'd be right around 9 o'clock, right?
Correct, yeah.
And they really came up here pretty quickly, didn't they?
No, the wind, yeah.
And now we see those firefighters are down there out of our sight, but they've got some hose pulled out there, and you're almost able to reach those flames from here, aren't you?
Yep.
Okay.
Almost there. So what they're doing some fire breaks over there. They're also flanking the fire from that side.
Yeah. Okay. Jose, what's your last name?
Arevalo. A-R-E-D as Victor, A-L-O.
All right. Again, thank you so much, Jose.
You're very welcome. Take care.
All right. Jose Arevalo, our friendly neighbor, coming to the rescue here and really helping fire crews get a good start on those flames that started just before 9 o'clock. We want to reset here as we're looking at video from earlier. Evacuations are still in place here. At the height of the fire, about 50 structures were threatened, commercial and residential. 1 home damaged that we know of so far. Embers got inside and damaged the kitchen area. Not sure about any other homes, as firefighters are still actively engaged in this firefight. There are resources from throughout Santa Barbara County as well as Ventura County have come out to help. This fire started about 8:50, 0% containment, but we do expect that to change. They have effectively, for the time being, contained the area around our station as the fire has moved down the hill. Resources are available right now for those impacted at Ledbetter Beach parking lot area, and it is a safe place for people who have been evacuated. This fire has really died down dramatically from earlier, but it is still problematic. We're talking about steep terrain. It's dangerous for firefighters. Debris can roll down. They don't know in the dark. It's difficult footing out there as well. There are still some active flames out there. But, it has calmed down dramatically once again, and we know that they are going to be out there all night and through the day tomorrow, getting a line around the fire and making sure that the embers are out. And we know that they have to keep a close watch on it because of the wind. And Kelsey is keeping a close watch on the wind for us. We go back to her in the First Alert Weather Center.
We were seeing those strongest winds right around 9 o'clock tonight as we take a look at these wind speeds coming on through tonight. Right around 9 o'clock is when Santa Barbara was seeing those sustained winds. Incredibly strong in some areas, 40 miles per hour. On TV Hill, we were seeing strong winds anywhere from 20 to 40 miles per hour as those flames were climbing up the hillside. Now, as we take a look here right now at those current wind speeds, we can use this technology to zoom on in. And in the Santa Barbara area where this fire is burning, I'll zoom on in to this local area here. take us out just a bit, and we are still seeing those double-digit wind speeds, which is indicated by this blue area here as this fire is starting to make its way down towards Loma Alta Drive here where it intersects towards Cliff. So we're here on the hill and it's starting to make its way this way. So on the hill at this very moment, we're not seeing those strong winds. Right now, nice and calm, but we are seeing those gusts come through that are a lot stronger than that. But as you make your way down, it does start to pick up. And those gusts are going to come and go as we go throughout the next couple of hours. In fact, that is why we do have that wind advisory that is currently in place. The wind advisory staying in place until we get to 6 a.m. tomorrow morning for the Santa Barbara South Coast and Santa Barbara County Mountains, where this fire is actively burning there in the city of Santa Barbara on that hilltop just above the Mesa area. As we take a look at these future winds, you'll notice double-digit wind speeds as I go hour by hour, sticking around there in the Santa Barbara area. Tomorrow, the winds will pick up again, just like we saw out there today, starting in the afternoon, but gustiest conditions really are anticipated as the sun sets. You saw how Santa Barbara really just picked up there. So as we've been forecasting all week, we have those strong winds out there, and they are expected to stick around all the way into your Saturday forecast. Tonight was the strongest wind event that we were expecting, but Scott, all it takes is that ember to be pushed by these strong winds and start a new fire in another place. So that's why firefighters are actively trying to get out all those embers. As I was looking outside here on TV Hill, we weren't seeing any active embers, but there is in some of our other live cam video that we're showing from our other field crews out there. So that's why firefighters are working really hard tonight to make sure these winds don't pick those embers up and start another fire.
All right. Thank you, Kelsey. This fire also affecting Caltrans and Highway 101. I'm just seeing a tweet here from Caltrans, Jim Shivers, who's the public information officer. He says Caltrans has suspended overnight work tonight on US 101 near Ortega Street in Santa Barbara due to this fire that we've been covering tonight. Construction and maintenance forces will remove equipment following highway repairs before reopening 2 lanes of southbound 101 this evening. So hopefully that will not affect traffic too much on Highway 101. But certainly there are many people in their homes and out of their homes tonight closely watching what this fire is doing. And our Blake Devine is out there on the scene tracking this fire for us. Let's go to Blake.
Yeah, Scout, right now we are on Loma Alta Drive, and as you can see behind me, a lot of firefighters here, a heavy presence as we see a structure. We're going to do a little walk and talk, but we can see a structure up there that is under duress as we speak. Some embers have just sported up through the air, and this fire team is working to get their way up the hill and put out this fire. But as you can see, it's quite steep, so they're having to saw away certain debris and take a good look up there. As you can see, these guys are just trudging their way up the hill as we speak, but these are not just your average hills. As you see this firefighter right here, it's slippery, it's wet, and obviously there's a lot of debris on the ground, but they're making their way up there to hack away and save that building, which is, I believe that is a residence that may be on Via del Cielo. We don't quite know. But this whole street at Loma Alta Drive is completely closed as we speak. A lot of firefighters are doing their best to put out the flames as this wind-driven fire obviously has dissipated a good amount compared to what it was like at the 10 p.m. show. But as you can still see, there's a lot of things going on and there's a lot of work yet to still be done in order to put out the Loma Fire. And just to clarify, the Loma Fire is being worked on by the Santa Barbara County Fire Department, and it is spread off throughout the mesa here with a wind-driven debris, and which obviously caused a lot of chaos earlier today. And we're gonna watch these firefighters do their thing. But a lot of people are saying that this fire was wind-whipped. It was 20 acres, and it's obviously a vegetation fire. It was burning up PV Hill and threatening homes along Loma Alta Drive, and evacuation orders are still in place as we speak. A lot of concerned residents around this area were trying to go back and obviously save their houses and grab certain things, but at this point in time, it just is not safe to come back up the hill. So you're just gonna have to keep tight, stay steady, and let these firefighters do their jobs. But obviously, still, these firefighters are just trying to get up there as we speak, and obviously the hoses are there. So we're going to keep monitoring this situation here on Loma Alta Drive, and we'll keep you updated throughout the evening. Reporting live in Santa Barbara, Blake Devine, News Channel 3. Scott, back to you.
Blake, thank you so much for that very good perspective there from below the fire to see just how difficult it is for those firefighters to gain access. This is new video we have not seen yet tonight. This is taken from our sports director, Mike Clan, who again was inside the building as these flames broke out, and you can see the flames violently moving towards the direction of our neighbor Steve's home. We'll hear from him again in just a moment, I believe, as his home appears to have been spared. But that was really the height of the forcefulness of this fire right there in the beginning of the 9 o'clock hour. And as I arrived after going home for dinner at about this time, as Mike was taking this video, he then started to get cars out of our parking lot. That live truck there, that had to be moved. The satellite dishes couldn't be moved. We're fortunate that they did not get burned, because the flames were literally not more than a foot away from those satellite dishes. We consider ourselves fortunate to be sitting here where we are right now with the force of these flames and the speed at which they came up the hill towards us. And again, the Loma Fire so far reports of 1 house damaged, 50 threatened at the height of the fire. And it is just difficult for the crews to gain access to it. If we're able to hear from Mike Eliason again in this hour, I would like to know the possibility of any airstrikes on this fire. We know that it is difficult to fly at night, and there are limitations on that. But certainly if they could get some water or some fire retardant on the flames and embers from above, that could be very helpful to this firefight. But again, I'm not a firefighter, and I don't know their limitations and their strategies. I know that I see them working very, very hard to access the areas they need to get to from below and above on very difficult terrain. Let's bring in now our senior reporter, John Palmenteri, who is live on the scene for us. John, what do you have?
I'm here on Loma Alta. This is just below TV Hill on the upper side of the west side, and this fire has had its forward progress stopped. That's good news right now for a violent fire that we saw a couple of hours ago just explode up this hill. 20 acres, as you said, have burned, and there's a lot of firefighters in there with chainsaws, extra fire equipment. Let me get out of the way and show you some of the gear that's coming through right now. We've got resources that are coming in from Santa Barbara County, Santa Barbara City, and Ventura 25. We'll step to the right here and get around this water tanker here. And we've had active firefighting up in the hills here. And if we go up, we might be able to see some fire and some of the embers still burning in the hot spots here on the lower part of TV Hill. There's some fire there. They were spraying this with some hose lines just a short time ago. But for the most part, you can see just how dry it is with this shot and what was burning. Now, the cause remains under investigation. As you say, one structure has had some damage, but it could have been so much more from this fire that was threatening a wide variety of the area of Lower Miramonte, also the area of Cornell, Weldon, and Isleta. These are all areas on the backside of TV Hill. This area burned a week and a half ago with a small spot fire that was started presumably from a homeless camp, according to investigators. So within a week and a half, the same area caught on fire, and firefighters have the point of origin, and they're working on what may have caused this fire. They're going to be here all night doing a variety of things, not only cutting a line around this fire, but also getting in and getting all the hot spots out. And as you've heard in our First Alert Weather Center, we have the possibility of some recurring winds, and at any given time, this could blow out of its borders right now and get back into these homes or down on the west side or go in a completely different direction where the brush didn't burn. The uphill slope here is very steep. Any established fire that moves or blowing embers that land somewhere else can reestablish themselves and just go up the hill once again, threatening some of these homes in here. And of course, the businesses that are up here, there's a couple of private businesses and of course the TV station. So this is an extremely risky area for slope fires. We talked to Mike Eliason from the Santa Barbara County Fire Department, serving as the public information officer right now, and he said that the fire crews have been here from throughout the entire county, where they've needed the resources to backfill in the city and help in this fire, that they're going to be here as long as it takes to make sure everything is completely out. And multiple investigators are going to be here on the scene to try and figure out what started this fire, who might be responsible, and exactly what it's going to take to make sure this hillside is not going to reignite in fire. That's the very latest from below TV Hill here. The fire resources are staged and we'll be here all night on this hill. I'm John Palmentary, live on the scene, sending it back up to you.
Hey, John, I hope you can hear me here. I know you're in a heavily populated area there on Loma Alta, and there are fire trucks all across that road there. They are also protecting those homes in that neighborhood in case this fire comes down that hill. It seems like maybe there's a fire break with that road there. How do you feel about the safety of that area right now with regards to the fire in the neighborhood you're in?
Yeah, it's still breezy here. At any given time, something could jump the road and reestablish itself down below. And of course, we know we have San Pasquale, Ortega Street, Cana Perdido, and the residents down there are well aware of what the fire potential is from this hill down in their neighborhood. I also want to remind you that the search and rescue is here, and they're going door to door in the area of Miramonte, Cornell, Isleta, trying to find out who's home and get them out, or at least make them aware of what their risks are. So search and rescue is on the scene here, and they might be down in that neighborhood as well. I know they're getting as many crews as they can to assess where the next risky area is and get communication to the public where they aren't able to get it any other way.
All right, thank you, John. And for anyone who is watching from that neighborhood, you should know, we've said it a few times, we'll say it again, there are resources available for you in the Ledbetter Beach parking lot right now. John Palmentary reporting live from Loma Alta. This is called the Loma Fire. It broke out just before 9 o'clock tonight. This is video from our television station just after 9 o'clock tonight. Right next door to our television station, we want to hear from a homeowner who I spoke with. His name is Steve. He saw the flames and came into our parking lot, and he was very concerned for his home. We have later found out that his home is okay, and he's in the same situation we're in here with many of the fuels. Much of the fuel that is below us has been burned out, and we're told that we're in a good spot right now. But let's hear what it is like to be a homeowner in the middle of this with the flames really whipping just feet away from your home.
And I was watching the television, and all of a sudden ashes are flying up in the air.
Yeah.
It was sweeping up TV hillside, kind of away from the TV station, right at where I was sitting. And then I think the wind really, really bad, really, really heavy. And it kind of swept it up to the edge of the house, which I've always tried to make a fire break there because it's a hillside that could burn. And it kind of swept towards the back of my house and the neighbor's house, and they're still working on it, so I don't know what the result is.
Crews are there right now. It's about 9:55, and they're protecting your home right now as we speak. You were there, you saw these flames coming. Did you get out on your own, or did the fire crews tell you to get out?
I got out on my own. I started to go to the back of the house to try and extinguish the embers, and then it was like, okay, you have to get out of here. It was kind of like, firestormish.
Yeah.
There's nothing to fight because the air was all on fire.
Yeah, we can see the trees really blowing. That was scary, wasn't it?
That was scary enough that I forgot to grab everything that you're supposed to grab.
Yeah.
Well, you get to know your neighbors during challenging times. I was happy to meet Steve and hear that he is okay, though I certainly wish it was not under these challenging circumstances, but we're glad that his property appears to be okay at this point. All right, we want to go back out live now to Blake Devine with more from the scene. Blake.
Scott, we're back here out on Loma Alta Drive where John Palmentary was just out a few minutes ago, and as you can see here, the embers have definitely gone down from the tree and from that upper area, and you can just see what these firefighters are dealing with as we speak. Very, very steep terrain. The wind is definitely whipping around, not quite as deeply and as fast as it was earlier this evening, but you can just see all these embers. We're going to kind of walk around and just, you can hear that popping sound, and that's a lot of those plants that are just ripe and ready for burn season. Obviously, fire season now is throughout the year, but look at all these embers, and all it takes is just one of these embers right here to catch fire, and that could then light up the entire area. So look at all this smoke as we speak, and these firefighters aren't even aware of what's been burning in this particular area because they're dealing with it about 20 yards down to my left. There's a heavy firefighter presence, and they're obviously taking on the major burn area, which is up probably about 40 feet up there up the hill. But as you can see, all it takes is a little bit of wind and this fire can kick up, and there you see that debris. So hopefully they can get this taken care of. Once again, we're on Loma Alta Drive. It's completely closed off to the public, so we'll update you throughout the evening. Scott, back to you.
All right, Blake, thank you. These firefighters are very good at what they do and well practiced. Unfortunately, we've been dealing with far too many of these fires. Let's go to Kelsey Gerkins now. In our remaining moments, we're with you for about another 3 minutes here until midnight. Kelsey's going to give us another look at the weather.
The wind speeds considerably less than what we were seeing when this fire really ripped through up TV Hill. So here's downtown Santa Barbara. Here's the Mesa area, and this is where this fire is in the TV Hill area. This is Miramonte Drive, and as we have gone through the last couple of hours, it's been pushing to the east. This is Loma Alta Drive, where we've had some of our live crews. So we've been seeing that fire start from right there next to TV Hill and then pushing to the east. Loma Alta Drive has been one of those main sections where we've seen those fire crews set up. And then we have Camino di Cielo right here, where they are also keeping a really close eye on protecting these homes across this hillside. Now, as we take a look at those wind speeds right now, at this moment, this sensor here in Santa Barbara is in the single digits. That's what I've been seeing on a lot of those sensors in Santa Barbara. Goleta's at 15. It's not over just yet. Wind advisory in place until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Friday, though, another gusty day. I do expect to see more wind advisories issued for Friday. What that means, we're seeing those sustained winds from 15 to 30 miles per hour going to 1 o'clock in the morning. There's those double-digit wind speeds. The winds coming from the west-northwest. So that means this fire is really pushing to the east. You'll see it continuing to move to the east, but it just takes one of those embers to really get carried by one of these winds out here and pushing it to a different area. But we stay in the double digits all throughout the overnight hours, and then it does intensify as we go into your Friday afternoon and evening. Positive news, relative humidity is really high, so a lot of moisture in the air, and temperatures are cool. So this is a wind-driven fire. Drought status, severe to extreme for our local area, severe where this fire is burning. So it's dry fuel and wind pushing this fire, Scott.
Okay, Kelsey, it could be it's kind of a hold on to your seat kind of night here, but we are certainly glad that the fire is in the position that is in, where it has died down some. They have gotten some good water on this fire, and it is not as windy as it was earlier. All right, let's give you a recap here on our last minute of what we've been dealing with tonight with the Loma Fire. Resources are available for those who have had to evacuate at the Ledbetter Beach parking lot area. That is a safe place for people to go. Evacuations are still in place. At the height of this fire, about 50 structures were threatened, commercial and residential. One home was damaged. At least one home is what we've been told. That's what they've reported so far. Embers got inside and damaged the kitchen area. That home was damaged. Not sure about others. Fire started about 8:50. There are no reports of containment yet, but that is expected to change again as fire crews are getting some water on these flames out there tonight. It has died down from earlier. This is steep terrain that we're dealing with here. It's difficult and dangerous for the firefighters to access it from up above on Miramonte Drive, where our television station is, or Loma Alta Drive below, where Blake and John were reporting from, and we saw firefighters climbing up the hill to try to access it. They're going to be out there all night and through the day tomorrow, getting a line around the fire and making sure the embers are out. We will be with you through the night as well as needed. You can always go to our website, KEYT.com, or our mobile app for the very latest, and we will break into programming as needed. We hope that it is not, but we will be standing by in case it is. I'm Scott Hennessy reporting live from TV Hill here in Santa Barbara. Good night.